Howdy y'all, and welcome back to I Am Abled Because I Am is Able. Maybe you've been wondering what a good day looks like for me in the middle of a pain spiral week versus in the middle of an average week. If you're new here, I suffer with a chronic health life, and I don't really understand what it is. I know that some has to do with me having brittle bone disorder, and some is neurological, and some is cardiac, but we don't really understand what is really going on and how all of it works together. There's no name to anything yet. And it's also not linear. My health journey is a yo-yo. So I have good days and bad days, good weeks and bad weeks, and I have what I call spirals. So what does that look like? Well, I'm going to use my Fitbit to explain to you or describe to you what a good day during a spiral looks like versus a good day on my average days. Because I don't really know how to explain what it feels like or what I'm going through, because it's constantly changing, and it may depend on whether it's muscle or bone or nerves. So I can't explain what it feels like, but my Fitbit can explain what it felt like. So the last couple of weeks, I was in the middle of a weird spiral where my left leg just decided it painfully did not want to work anymore. And I had been bound to a wheelchair and a walker for the last couple of weeks, and only the last 2 days have been able to walk without a mobility aid around the house. So in the midst of that, I realized something. And this is where this video comes in. My Fitbit told the story very well. Because in the midst of this, on my really, really awful days, I barely got to 1,000 steps. But on my good days, in the middle of those really bad days, I had to work to get here, but I could walk or maneuver in the mobility aids up to 2,000 or 2,500 steps. As opposed to today and yesterday, where I got to 1,000 steps without even realizing it. It's only halfway through the day. Sorry, did I say 1,000? I meant 3,000. I got to 3,000 steps without even thinking about it today. And that blew me away. So what does that look like? Does that mean I'm walking around the house all day long trying to get my steps? No. Every step represents a task that I was able to do. So when you live with this kind of chronic pain that I live with anyways, just walking around the house aimlessly only happens when you're having a really, really good day. When you have chronic pain and chronic fatigue or chronic anything really that is affecting your health, every step often needs to be accounted for and how much energy it's going to drain from you. So if you're in a spiral or in a really bad day, you're not going to just take a stroll. That's not going to happen. Those steps are going to equal a task that you were able to accomplish. So on my really bad days where I barely made it to 1,000 steps, every step accounted for probably the fact that I made it all the way across the house to the restroom. I don't have a really big house, but still, it's a big deal to even get that far, as opposed to using my commode, because that's how bad things got. They can also represent the fact that I got up and got food for myself as opposed to having food brought to me. They could represent the fact that I maybe got up and got dressed in day clothes instead of the pajamas that I was wearing before. All of these things can represent a task that you did for the sake of your health or your needs. So those 2,000 to 2,500 steps represented a lot more tasks that I was able to accomplish within that time. A couple of those strolls, I did take a couple short strolls, but those were not for recreational activity. No, they were to make sure that I was stretching my now tense legs, that I was moving as much as I could to help circulation, to help my pain levels, to help the blood flow, to maybe help me recover. But it wasn't for funsies. And today, I did 3,000 steps and didn't even try doing anything like that. And I honestly don't know how I got to 3,000 steps. And this is not my best day or my worst day. I'm having an average day today. So take that for what it is. On a good day, I tend towards about 4,000 to sometimes as much as 5,000 steps, but those are really, really good days. I'm just telling you the average here. And the reason why I'm even talking about this is to maybe bring awareness to like what it can look like, the difference of how much someone is able to move during a chronic episode versus a everyday episode, versus what you might be able to accomplish in your everyday life. And I know not everybody can just walk around and do a bunch of tasks, and 10,000 steps is a ridiculous amount, and even the medical community is acknowledging that that's a lot to ask from people every single day. But if you're someone who keeps track of your steps and you've wondered what it might look for someone with a chronic condition, not all people with chronic conditions like tracking their steps because it can actually put too much pressure on them and they can overdo it. I tend to like to look at my steps because I know what numbers tend to make me suffer later, and I know what numbers I need to get to in order to not freeze up, to not have my muscles really tense and cramp on me later. So it helps me find the happy balances on good or bad days. That's what I like using my Fitbit for. Everybody's different. And this is not an advertisement for Fitbit or anything like that. That's just the brand I use. So curious, what does a good day look like for you, or a rough day look like for you? Do you track your steps, especially if you're a chronic pain sufferer like myself or a chronic health person like myself? Do you like to track your steps or just do the heart rate stuff? What has been helpful to you in tracking your health? And I hope that maybe a little glimpse into this side of my health journey will resonate with somebody out there. Maybe it'll be helpful. I don't know. But I thank you for watching. And I don't really know how to close this out, but thanks for watching. Ciao for now. Hope to see you later. I do other videos like crafting stuff, and Christmas is coming up in a couple of months. I'll be talking about that soon too, but I'm just glad you're here. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now. Bye.